What's up, Graham? How you doing today? I saw you made a why I bought Bitcoin video right before the price dumped. That wasn't good timing for a second time. But I will say, I'm glad you made the jump into cryptocurrency. So I'm going to respond to your video. I haven't watched it. I'm going to be completely open. I have not watched it. All of this is going to be off the brain of what I know in cryptocurrency. I heard a lot of people saying I wasn't an expert. I've helped thousands of people get into cryptocurrency. I have multiple six-figure earners, multiple seven-figure earners. And like I said, I have hundreds of students, guys. I've been doing this for a very long time. And this year we're about 780% year to date. And that's, if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum's price history, that's higher than Bitcoin and Ethereum. So essentially, not only was I able to accumulate off of those coins, but I also traded my way with our cycle trading strategy. But that's not what we're talking about, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Graham. So I'm gonna be reacting to this. I'll go over everything he says. I'm gonna try to do it in a precise manner. And then I'm just gonna talk about my thoughts, comments, and concerns. It doesn't have to be me bashing him. Thanks, Graham, for not taking my last video personal with the clickbait. I'm sure you can understand that it wasn't something that I was trying to attack you. I was just simply trying to get clicks like everybody else. But yeah, let's jump into the video. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another cryptocurrency video. And today we're responding to one of the biggest financial YouTubers on the internet.
I'm not a cryptocurrency channel.
This guy consistently gets like 1,500,000 views per video. And what he says matters because a lot of people watch it, obviously. So being that I've made a video in the past and he used some of my clips in his video, I got to respond again, my man. We got to talk about it more. Now, you did make a video and I have not watched it. I want to be very clear. I have not watched it. So everything I say here is going to be organic and truthful. So let's jump into it right now. I'm gonna pop this open on my phone and we are off. Let me run it back.
Here, Graham, it's guys, you up what's? Well, get ready for the price of Bitcoin to collapse into the abyss of nothing because I just bought some Bitcoin. Seriously, for some reason, when it comes to these things, it seems like the entire universe is conspiring against me and everyone is waiting to sell at the precise moment that I buy in. But despite that, I said—
It's funny you say that because in your last video, you were talking about Tether and the issues that might arise from Tether. The reason why it dumped is because of Tether. So actually, you were pretty right. Yeah, you were right. You should have listened to your gut, my man. But also, I will say that it didn't dump by that much. This is pretty normal in Bitcoin. Maybe you don't know that. Maybe you haven't experienced that yet. But again, this is pretty common. Bitcoin has been pumping for a long time. So, I guess what I would tell you in a situation, pay attention to things before other people make a trend. I know a lot of your attention comes from you creating the videos. And the same thing for me. A lot of my attention and research comes from me making videos for other people. But if you want to be ahead of the curve, you got to listen to yourself and not other people. Let me just play the video.
I did what I would do a week ago and I bought it. Or as some would prefer me to say, I have diversified into another asset class. This definitely was not a decision out of FOMO. It wasn't me trying to rush in to make as much money as possible. And it wasn't me just dipping in my toes to see what it's like. I just placed a portion of my portfolio into Bitcoin and now it's there to stay.
Nice.
So let's talk about what happened and what changed my mind. And then I will tell you exactly what I bought, at what price, and how much. The goal of this video is to explain my thought process, just like I would do with any investment that I make. And since this video has a lot more to do than just cryptocurrency, I think it's worth watching. Because I promise, even if you don't like cryptocurrency at all, there are some points in here that are really important to understand. And this is going—
That's one thing, Graham, that you do very well, man. You know how to build up a video and get people to watch. I got to learn that from you for sure. I really appreciate your content. Let's keep watching.
To apply to everybody, no matter what you're investing in, guaranteed. Oh, and by the way, watch out for all the fake Graham Stephan accounts in the comment section telling you to text a WhatsApp number. Those are all scammers.
That's so funny because as soon as you put Bitcoin in your title, man, it's free game. All these scammers coming out the woodworks everywhere, man. Just be careful with your account. I know you're a smart guy, but make sure you have two-form authenticator set up. And I will say, Graham, you might get shadow banned. You might get, you might get some strikes out of nowhere for no reason. For some reason, Google censors Bitcoin content. So I don't know if that was a good marketing strategy, but I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe they lowered it. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And as soon as I go and delete and block those accounts, they just go and make new ones. So unless you get a reply from me with a check mark next to the name, it's not me. The only things I'm ever going to ask you to do is to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm.
And another one of your jokes. Guys, can you do me a favor too? Let's get as many likes as Graham Stephan. Go ahead and smash the like button. I love your jokes, man. I love your transitions into the, tricking people into, not tricking, but, doing the call to action stuff. Let's keep it going.
Make sure to get your 4 free stocks down below in the description, because Webull is going to be giving you 4 free stocks when you deposit $100 in the platform, and those stocks could be worth all.
See, Graham's smart. I don't really do affiliate commissions too much. I try to refrain from it. I used to do it in the past because I want to, not sacrifice my composure. I make the majority of my money in digital courses and, trading, but I know he does both. So this guy's about his money for serious. Like he's serious about his money.
Way up to $1,600. So thanks so much for doing that, and now we'll get back to the topic at hand, Bitcoin. Okay, so let me explain what I've just done. I don't know why, but it feels like I'm a guilty kid trying to explain himself here, but a lot of this started a few weeks ago. Apparently, the YouTube algorithm thought it would be a good idea to start recommending Bitcoin content to me late at night when I couldn't fall asleep. So instead of doing what I should have done and close my eyes and go to sleep,
man, how do you watch YouTube? I'm on YouTube so much, and I cannot watch this content. I mean, I could sometimes, like with specific people, but how are you? It seems like you scour the YouTube. I don't know how you do that, man. I hate like watching YouTube videos now because I'm on it so much.
I watched video after video about the intricacies of Bitcoin, what institutional investors think of it, who's buying it, who's not buying it, and
oh snap, that's BitBoy. That's BitBoy. What's up, man? BitBoy's on the big screen.
Detail you could imagine. This was around the time where it began increasing to the $20,000 range. And of course, when any newsworthy event happens that's in any way related to investing and making money, I get thousands of comments asking for my thoughts or to make a video talking about Bitcoin. Now, initially, I shrugged it off because I'm not a cryptocurrency channel, and there are other people out there who know way more about this than I do. But once I ran out of video, I
appreciate it, man. Appreciate that. I mean, I don't know if it's me, but appreciate the shout out to the cryptocurrency channels.
Ideas. Then I thought, okay, fine, I'll make a video about Bitcoin, and so it begins. In a recent video, I shared my thoughts, I shared my concerns, I was very critical with several aspects, and I said I wouldn't mind placing a very small percentage of my total portfolio into Bitcoin just as another way to diversify. I thought it was a fairly well-balanced, neutral standpoint. I didn't exactly endorse anyone buying Bitcoin, but I didn't exactly dismiss it either. But yeah, that did not stop a lot of people from making response videos.
Wait, that's me. That was me right there. That was me. That was my video. I'm famous. I'm so famous.
As to what I had to say. Honestly, this is the part of YouTube I absolutely love. It's as though we become...
Oh, snap, that's me again. Okay, yeah, see the dramatic entry right there? I was trying to clickbait, man. I learned from you, Graham. I learned from you.
Interconnected family of friends who aren't afraid to share their thoughts, tell me what I can improve on, and offer their criticism, and I'm open to it. Anytime I make a video, I listen very intently to what people have to say, and I want to hear as many different perspectives as possible. I'm not afraid of being wrong, and I realize there's always more that I could learn and understand. So I watched a lot of your response videos, and chances are, if you made a video with Graham Stephan and Bitcoin in the title, chances are I've seen it. And I would say there's a few main points that people disagreed with. The first was my claim that cryptocurrencies are subject to price manipulation, and I used the 2017 run-up as an example that pushed up the price right before it dropped 80%. Now, the counter-argument that many people used is that, sure, cryptocurrencies can be manipulated, but so could any other currency, and that's confirmed. The most recent example would come from JP Morgan, who has fined almost $1 billion for manipulating the price of precious metals. So even though...
There you go. I mean, there's manipulation everywhere, guys. Not just in cryptocurrency. So I don't know if he's going to agree with this point, but I will say that it's pretty obvious. The whales are not just in crypto, guys. They're in every major financial, market. They manipulate everything. So yeah.
Oh yes, anything could be subject to market manipulation. Institutional banks are much more likely to be scrutinized and regulated by the SEC, which is most likely to pursue those charges, not so much with Bitcoin.
Now that's very true. That is very, very true. But I would also go as far as to saying that the SEC has bailed them out in multiple situations. Like, for example, nobody really got held accountable in the 2008 financial crash and the issues that went on there, even though there was clear, problems amongst the housing market and what they've been doing, to basically scam people. So, I will say that they will hold people accountable, but it's a very light slap on the wrist. And typically they're just taking money away from them, which a lot of these banks have ridiculous power over the money anyways, and they're essentially going to make it. There's typically not jail time involved. There is going to be specific situations where they'll put somebody out there, like just to put a face on it, right? Because, you know, for whatever reason, they want to have somebody held accountable. But there's a lot of people behind the scenes, and I'm sure you can agree with me on this, that get through all the cracks. And I will go as far as to say this as well. When it comes to manipulation, the reason why, you know, regulation is so big in like something like, you know, traditional markets is because there's a lot more money. So I would even go as far as saying the light slap on the wrist that these people are getting in comparison to the size of the market and compared to crypto, comparing all that to crypto, the manipulation is probably going to be much more in traditional finance. That's just a fact. They don't really get in trouble, and they'll blame somebody else in a lot of cases. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I can't really verify anything I said, but I have read enough books and I have researched enough to know that what I'm saying is pretty much correct. There's no real discipline happening except for, you know, fines, which is like kind of defeats. Okay, so you manipulate people to make money and then you just pay that money back. I don't know if that's really a good way to seriously discipline people. So I would say it even in real markets is a free-for-all. It's a free-for-all in every market. Even if there's rules and regulations, people break them all the time and get away with it. So yeah, they're both manipulated. End of story. That's my personal perspective.
Cryptocurrency is still a relatively new, difficult to regulate industry. And I think for a lot of people, they like that the SEC is not as actively involved as, let's say, mainstream banks. So while anything can be manipulated, Bitcoin is much less scrutinized than other companies or assets, at least right now. Next, we got to talk about something that nearly every...
Okay, I think he just agreed with me. I think I kind of missed that. Let me rewind what he said because I was too busy talking. Hold on a second.
So while anything can be manipulated, Bitcoin is much less scrutinized than other companies.
It's true. I'm not going to sit here and say that what he's saying is not true. Like, they are much less scrutinized, but it doesn't mean they don't get sued. And other cryptocurrency companies get sued. Like, for example, recently XRP is getting sued. EOS got sued. There's a lot of places that do. So I would go argue to say, okay, this is just an argument, that the regulation or the amount of discipline cryptocurrency, the actual cryptocurrency market receives, is outweighed by the fact that, you know, traditional finance is much bigger. And if you were to get like a ratio, I would go, just guessing, I would go as far to say that the ratio would be a much bigger difference in traditional finance versus Bitcoin. Maybe that went over some people's head, but essentially what I'm saying is, yes, there's regulation in traditional markets, but there's also a lot more money in traditional markets being manipulated. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's keep watching the video.
At least right now. Next, we got to talk about something that nearly everybody called me out for, and that were my thoughts on regulation. I said that the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network proposed a new regulation that would require people identify themselves and their personal information upon request when transferring more than $3,000. My thought was that this somewhat gives up the anonymity that many people like about Bitcoin to begin with. And many people chimed in to say that sure, even though it can be tracked, everything could be tracked. And they believe that regulation is one step closer to legitimizing it for investors. And you know what? I think that's a good point, and I agree. I
like people that, you know, can admit they're wrong. I really do, man. That's noble of you. I appreciate your character. Seriously, like, that's seriously cool. I like it.
The more regulation put in place, the more serious and comfortable people will feel with Bitcoin. But I think it also has the potential to lose its original allure of placing your money in something that's completely decentralized and completely separate from everything else. So
now, okay, let's get this straight. So it could be regulated. It could be used in banks. Banks could buy it, but it will still be separate. Bitcoin's value proposition is a monetary hedge against inflation. Just because there's regulation and there's traditional, outlets adopting Bitcoin does not mean it's not separate. It's still separate until they can control it. So if regulators or any type of institution comes in and is able to print more Bitcoin, for example, and they're able to control it, then I would say it's not separate. Okay, just because people are adopting it and regulating it does not mean it's not separate. It is still separate. It's a world currency. This is peer-to-peer technology. So I can't agree with you on that point at all. Let's keep watching.
After that, we got to talk about value. I say that traditional investments are backed by an income-producing company with a tangible product or service that posts revenue and profits for its investors.
Okay, income producing. I can easily say that the income, okay, this is not exactly the same thing, but there are income producing methods that you can use in DeFi. One, Okay, with Bitcoin, you could take Bitcoin and have. I get what he's saying. The actual Bitcoin itself doesn't have income producing, right? I understand that part. Let me just go back to see exactly what he said so I can clarify. Let me see.
By an income-producing company with a tangible product.
Tangible product is a monetary hedge against inflation and a better form of money, being able to transfer or send it anywhere, right?
Or service that posts revenue and profits.
The revenue and profits can be also compared to, like, for example, the network effects of, I don't know, hypothetically looking at the blockchain explorer. You could easily see a lot of the fundamentals can come from that. For example, like I don't know, transaction volume or the amount of wallets created or whatever the case is.
The way I see it is that there's no specific reason why it's trading at $40,000 instead of $20,000.
I could say that there's more people adopting. What's the specific reason why, gold is trading at its price? Because more people want it. It's just a different form of value. It doesn't mean that it's valueless. It's just a different form of value. More people buy it, the more rare it becomes, the higher the value increases.
Or instead of $60,000. It just is. Now the counter.
It's not just is. It's because more people have the coin. I don't know. I don't know if he's oversimplifying it, but it comes from the network effects. If you look at Amazon, for example, they posted negative revenue. They posted losses for 10 years. For 10 years. But the network effects that they created was valuable. So in that case, people could say that Amazon was overvalued. It's overvalued, right? But people still invested in it. Why? If they're posting losses for a long period of time, they're posting losses. Amazon, look into this. I don't know if you've read the Everything Store, right? Why was it valuable? Because of the users, because of the adoption, because of the network effects. That is value. Just because there's not revenue does not mean that the business is not valuable.
That other people have made is that there is value in the network effect of Bitcoin, and that the more people use it, the more trust is built, and the more—
There you go. So he got it.
More likely you are to get the price that you ask. There's also value in supply and demand, as more people demand an alternative asset to their money.
Okay, he's basically answering what I just said. So he got it. He definitely understands. He's getting it.
Institutional belief of the concept, and that's something worth paying attention to. As Tom Heavey pointed out, MicroStrategy has bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin recently. Grayscale's Bitcoin investment fund raised over $3 billion last quarter, and data has shown that large institutional investors are driving a lot of the demand. Now, the argument against this is that maybe some of those institutional investors are more like speculators who don't really care about Bitcoin at all, and they just want to make as much money as possible in as little time as possible. And still, none of the 10 largest asset managers have bought Bitcoin yet. However, I don't doubt the bigger—
I mean, you can't say that. I mean, you don't know. They just didn't publicly say they bought Bitcoin, but they could have already bought Bitcoin a long time ago.
Players are getting in the game, and that's worth addressing. We can agree to disagree when—
And I'll also say, if you notice the trend of people buying Bitcoin, they're medium-sized institutions. So the reason why bigger, like really big, mega big institutions, like the biggest ones that you just claimed, the reason why they're not buying Bitcoin yet is because of slippage. The market is yet not big enough to buy. Like what are they? Like people were comparing Bitcoin's market cap to like Amazon and Apple, right? Imagine if they got into Bitcoin, right? They don't have they don't like playing around with small money. They want a meaningful investment. So it's way too big for them. Essentially how it works is, in 2017, there was kind of small institutions and hedge funds that got into Bitcoin. Now it's the medium size, and the medium size are paving the path for large institutions in the future. And this is why the large institutions aren't publicly talking about it. But I'm sure they got some Bitcoin on their balance sheet somewhere. Maybe it's not, public, but it's definitely, I will say they have small amounts. Well, I can't say, but I'm pretty confident. I'm confident, guys. I'm confident.
When it comes to analyzing the true value and worth of Bitcoin, because I'm sure most of that is going to be subjective depending on what metrics you want to use. There's also the argument that the more Bitcoin grows, the less risky and volatile it's going to become. Or as billionaire Bill Mayer says, Bitcoin's total supply is growing less than 2% a year, and it's obvious by the price that the demand is growing much, much faster than that. However, he recognizes that volatility is not going anywhere.
Wait. Let me get this. Wait, why did you use that quote? I'm going to run this back. Maybe it's just me missing it, but I'm kind of confused in this one. Let me run it back.
The more Bitcoin grows, the less risky and volatile it's going to become. Or as billionaire Bill Mayer says,
the less risky and volatile it's going to become. Yes, I made that argument myself. The law of diminishing returns say that it's going to be less and less volatile. Now, he's using a quote that's saying Bitcoin's total supply is growing at less than 2% a year. and it's obvious by the price, and demand is growing much faster than that. So what does that have to do with less or more volatility? Maybe he explains it more. Let me see.
Bitcoin's total supply is growing less than 2% a year, and it's obvious by the price that the demand is growing much, much faster than that. However, he recognizes that volatility is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay, did he say that in the article? Because I didn't hear him. I didn't read that. Maybe Graham's referring to the fact that he said volatility is not going anywhere in the article. Maybe that's what he said.
And for something so new, you should not be buying it.
Which I don't understand why you used a quote then, man. Why did you use the quote? If you were trying to make a point that I don't understand that. But I will counter argue that by saying, look at, the S&P 500. The reason why the S&P 500 is so, safe and it doesn't really, it doesn't have any volatility is because the amount of capital. It's much harder to move something big. It's common sense that the more money that comes into a market, the less volatile it becomes. Nobody ever can argue. I don't care if it's a billionaire. We can have that conversation, billionaire. And I will be right, or maybe wrong. I don't know. I'm just joking with you guys, but it's pretty much, everybody kind of knows this. I don't know why anybody's arguing against it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb.
You can't handle the fluctuations in price. So here's where I stand in all of this. One, I think it's always a good idea to be open to criticism.
I still don't know why you use that quote. You need to explain to me why you use that quote. I need to know. I need to know. Let's get back to the video.
Never take it personally, and always be open to hearing another viewpoint, even if you disagree with it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. I listen to everybody I possibly can. I really do.
I acknowledge that when it comes to this space, I have barely dipped my toes in compared to the involvement of others. So I fully expect that I would have a lot to learn in this space. I also recognize that viewpoints and perspectives will change over time. And as I've gotten older, the more I've understood the importance of diversification. Like, I know if you were to ask 24-year-old me what I should invest in, I know he would tell me to continue dumping all of my money into real estate, buying dilapidated duplexes and triplexes, and then rent them out for passive income. But the thing is, as I've gotten older and hopefully a little wiser, the more I valued the peace of mind in owning a little bit of everything.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. All right, so this is a common, okay, I think I know where he's going with this. I might, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know, we're gonna watch more, okay? But I think what he's saying, whoa, 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 is having a diversified portfolio is a wiser thing to do. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe he might say something otherwise, but I have a completely different viewpoint of this, and I don't think this is a good way of saying it, because it's not about it's not about what investment strategy is superior. It's how you want to live your life. That's more important. That is so much more important, okay? And I'm gonna be very clear with you that I think he's going this route. We'll talk about it more. Let me see what he's saying.
Though I did end up buying 2 properties last year, the vast majority of my money went into the stock market. My current goal is to have as much money invested in the stock market as I do in real estate, just so I'm not too reliant on one asset class over another. I've also taken it a step further and become an angel investor in 3 startup companies. 2 of them I can't mention quite yet, but the one I could talk about is a savings account, Youre Bank, which is a new concept where users can...
Wait, hold up. Did you say Youre Bank? Is this a bank? Whoa, 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 whoa. Is that why you don't like crypto? Are you making a bank, or you're a part of a bank? Is that why you don't like cryptocurrency, my man? Is that why you don't want think about it? Like all the bigger guys that talk negative about cryptocurrency, they all own banks, most of them. So what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm catching on. Let's keep watching.
Up to $10 million. Link down below in the description for anyone who wants to try that out. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug-in. I can take the words out of his mouth
there, but alongside that, I'm also trying to diversify my income. I've started 2 other YouTube channels completely independent of this one. I've launched a mentorship group. I'm soon announcing...
Yeah, this man is a hard worker. I hope to be in your area one day, Graham.
Soon announcing my coffee company, and I have another little something in the works that I could probably talk about in about a month or so. This makes me feel so much more relaxed that no matter what happens to one of them, I'm still gonna have a whole bunch left over to fall back on. And when I feel less stressed about this stuff, I just tend to do better, more productive work. Go figure. But anyway, back to the topic at hand.
That's interesting. That's a good point. He diversifies so he can feel less stressed and do better work. Okay.
With that diversification also comes Bitcoin. Now, I said I wouldn't be opposed to investing 1 to 3% of my portfolio into Bitcoin and then just letting it ride. And so I've invested that 1%. It might not sound like a lot, but the real catalyst was when the price went to $40,000 and then suddenly out of nowhere dropped down to $30,000. So once that happened, I figured, you know what, why not? I bought into Bitcoin around the low 32,000.
Yeah, 1% is pretty small, my friend. It's very small, but we'll talk about that towards the end of this video.
Range, and then I also bought some Ethereum around $1,100. And then I went with a 60-40 split between the two. To me, this is an amount that I'm not going to lose any
I like it. I like it. 60-40 split between Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's pretty good.
Sleep over. It's not going to bother me if it drops 50 to 80%. And it's something where if I lose all of it, I'll be totally okay.
Okay, so that's actually a good entryway. Like, he knows what he's doing, guys. He really does. Because I always tell people that never invest what you're not willing to lose. Now, I will say that I know Graham is more, I would say, skilled than the average person in investing. He knows a lot more. He has a lot more experience. So for him, I would have never recommended 1%. I would have recommended more like 10 to 15% to be. That's my personal opinion, because of his knowledge and because he knows about this so much. But it's everybody's personal preference. I always tell people just invest what you're willing to lose, because if it went to zero, you know, you don't want to bet the house on something like that, right? It's a volatile asset. Everybody kind of knows it. And it's just emotions itself can really kind of bog you down, right? If you have too much money in crypto, and I experienced this, right? If you have too much money in crypto and it drops, you're going to be very emotional. It's kind of ruin your life for however, long that it's down. So yeah, that's a smart play, man. That's a smart play.
And even though losing 1% of my portfolio would be a disappointment, it's not the end of the world. That means I'm not going to be concerned with volatility. It's not going to stress me out, but I could still have a small amount invested just in the event it proves to do well long term. This is a similar approach taken by the billionaire Paul Tudor Jones, who's an avid proponent of Bitcoin. For him, he's openly talked about holding 1 to 2% of his portfolio in Bitcoin, and I see the appeal of this type of diversification. However, I still very much take the stance that no one knows where this is going to be trading at in the future or what it's going to be worth a few years from now.
No one knows what anything's going to be worth a few years from now. That's what you call, I don't know, a fortune teller. Nobody knows anything, right? You can, project that stocks are going to go to a certain point. The price of a stock is going to, you can project that Tesla is going to quadruple, but nobody knows that. So this argument can be used for anything, not just Bitcoin, guys.
So many price predictions which have never come true, or others which completely devalue how well Bitcoin is done. So as neutral as I still am on Bitcoin, I would rather take the 1% risk and be in it than the 1% risk and be out of it.
See, that's smart. Get with it or get left behind situation. I say this literally in every single video I've ever created. At the end, I say the same thing. He's literally, the reason why he's buying Bitcoin is because he does not want to get left behind. It's literally what I'm getting from this right here. Let's keep watching.
Definitely not a risky investor, and I tend to play it overly safe with the other 99%. And some might even argue that 1% isn't even worth it. But for me, I care more about preserving my money in a well-diversified portfolio than I am about trying to maximize the profits for every single dollar.
You rather have a diversified portfolio rather than maximize every single dollar. Key word, he rather. This is not a superior investment strategy. This is simply a life decision. And I want everybody to understand that. Typically, people that diversify or over-diversify, they want to be safe. Now, personally, I am an entrepreneur. I came from an entrepreneurial background. So I have, a little bit riskier kind of like, let's change the world strategy. I will explain both of them towards the end of this video, because I think that's probably going to be the theme of like what he's talking about here. That's the most important, thing I'm getting from this video, is the fact that his investment strategy is because of his life decision. It's not because it's a superior investment strategy. Let me explain.
If I were a young whippersnapper again, maybe I would think differently. But for where I am right now in my life and my career, I feel like a 1% allocation.
Wait, how old are you? You look like you're 30 or something. That's young. That's a young whippersnapper. That's a snapper whipper. Young person. You are a young person. If you are below the age of 40, I don't know what you're talking about, my man.
I feel like a 1% allocation just makes the most sense. And lastly, let me just say this. Many of my original thoughts on Bitcoin remain unchanged. I still think it could potentially collapse down to nothing. I also think it might...
Anything can collapse down to nothing. I don't know. I mean, it's more likely with crypto because it's so new, but I would say the chance of, stock market or traditional finance or some type of, economic problems right now are probably the highest it's historically ever been. It's probably a really good chance that things can go down to zero right now, and the events that right now, things are happening right now in this day and age, and the fact that everything's at its all-time high, I think there's a good chance that it can probably go to zero, or at least, I mean, it would be a huge, world situation. But if there was a time for a world situation to happen, it's probably going to be now. Am I wrong or am I right? I don't know. You tell me. Leave a comment below. I'm just scamming you so that you can, get my video to more people. That's my scam. Leave a comment. I'm just kidding, guys. So keep watching.
Head to 100,000. I don't think any amount of charting or analysis is going to accurately predict when and where this will end up. So I would never advocate anyone buying in an amount that they're not fully prepared to lose.
Everything he said was completely correct. I don't believe charting. It's charting's to make it, make you feel comfortable and to find strategic, points to buy and sell. So yeah, I agree with you on that point, man.
I still think 12 years of history is not enough to estimate a value 30 to 50 years from now.
So, Graham, let me ask you, what would be your time span? Well, 40? If it's anywhere around 40, that's essentially the amount of time Keynesian economics, kind of really took over, how the monetary system currently works. So, if you're saying 100 years, to actually build credibility as a money, then I would say you're right. Now, if you're referring to the United States dollar, then I would say you're wrong, because it's only about a 40 to 50 year experiment. Look back to the Bretton Woods Agreement, okay? Essentially, it became a fiat currency when they stopped backing it by gold. So we're in an experiment with the United States dollar as well, Graham. Seriously. I know Bitcoin's only 12 years old, but it's outproduced every single asset known to man. Or there's probably a couple that beat it, but it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Let's keep watching the video.
There's so many unknowns that could really throw a curveball at this at any moment, and that's something to be prepared for. I also believe there's no...
I'm more scared, and I said this in my last video, I'm more scared of thinking I know something and it being wrong than charting unknowns. That's just my personal opinion. Also, I will say there's not that many unknowns considering the code is out there. I would argue to say that there's more unknowns in, a fiat-backed currency than a completely open, decentralized, and transparent public ledger with every single transaction ever recorded. Now, I know you're referring to like the unknowns of it's going to be a cryptocurrency or not, but my man, there's a lot of data to back this up. Look at peer-to-peer technologies. No one's going to really take down Bitcoin. Who's going to take down Bitcoin? Somebody tell me. Who's gonna take down who? China? They've already banned it. China has banned cryptocurrency in the past. Now they are currently the biggest traders of Bitcoin. So if the biggest country on earth using Bitcoin has banned it and it still didn't fall, so I don't know what you're referring to, but let's keep watching the video.
Harm in taking profits if you're overly invested and you have too much of your portfolio in a volatile asset like this. But most important of all for everyone watching, I just think it's a good trait to be open to criticism, to be able to hear people out.
No, seriously though, I really like what you're doing, man. You have a lot of character. I like the fact that you can listen to other people. That's really cool. I really like that.
And be open to learning something new. I definitely would not be here today if I closed myself off to new insights or I felt like I knew it all and didn't need to hear anything else. And finally, the last big takeaway from this is diversification.
Oh,
this year's been a big change for me in my portfolio. I've gone from 90% real estate to having money in real estate, stocks, bonds, cash, multiple businesses, angel investments, and so on. I believe the more you invest around, the more stable and consistent your income is going to be.
Yes, this is very true. So when you diversify, don't put too much eggs in one basket. Now there's a contrary to this, and typically entrepreneurs say it. I forgot exactly who quoted it because this is organic and I'm not, an encyclopedia. But there's one person that said it could be two ways. You can not put all your eggs in one basket and diversify so that if one drops and that egg cracks, you have all the other to eat or whatever the case is, or you can go ahead and put all of your eggs in one basket, but guard that basket with your life. That is what I believe in. That's just how I live my life. And I'll explain why. Let's just finish the video.
To grow. And for me, that diversification coincides with a 1% investment in Bitcoin. And hey, you know what? Now we could check back 5 years from now and just see how all of this is played out.
Great video, man. I really appreciate what you do. So the one thing I would say where we differentiate, and this is just my honest perspective, is what I just told you. So essentially, you have to think about what you want to do with your life. And I'm not talking to you, Graham. I'm talking to everybody watching this video. So I want you guys to think about if you made $10 billion, right? Think about, close your eyes, relax, actually seriously visualize, right? And you can visualize it with all the senses. Smell it, hear it, taste it, everything. I want you guys to really immerse yourself in this imagination. Now, I want you to think about you won the lotto and you won like $1 billion or something. You have all the money that you could ever want, ever, okay? And you went and bought an island. That's how rich you are. You went and bought an island. You experienced everything, right? You went through all of that for the past 2 years since you won the lotto. Now let's bring you to the present in this imagination. You wake up from your bed. You start thinking about all the fun times you had. You hear the wind because your room is just amazing and you live right by the ocean. But you get this sick, very, very sick feeling of boredom. It starts from your gut. I know you guys have all felt boredom, right? Now feel yourself feeling bored, right? So you did everything you've ever wanted to do in your life. You don't even have to run a business anymore. You're so rich, you can just like throw away $1,000 a day for the rest of your life and still have millions to give to your family. Like, you're so rich, you never have to work a day in your life ever again. This is why I keep telling people that money is not my greatest motivation. The reason is, once you do get that money, there will be another goal, okay? There will be something else you want to strive for. Otherwise, you'll be bored and unfulfilled. Money does not fulfill your life. What fulfills your life, and this is just my personal perspective, you can relate it to the Bible, you can relate it to other religions, you could just simply relate it to common sense, you can even relate it to nature. Fulfillment from life comes from helping other people. That is what people should be striving for, not money. So when I say investment strategy, right? When I say it's not an investment strategy, it's a life decision. This is what I'm referring to, Graham. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So everybody watching this video, you have to think what type of person you are. Are you person A or are you person B? Person A wants to relax, retire comfortably on a beach, and not have to worry about money ever again. Similar to the story I just told you, the rich person that doesn't ever have to work again. That's person A. Now, person B never retires, works for the rest of his life, but actually changes mankind. You can relate this to Jeff Bezos. You can relate this to Elon Musk, Sam Walton. The biggest entrepreneurs on earth do not retire. They do not retire. They further mankind forever, and they don't care about money. A person that's scared of losing money, a person that diversifies too much and wants to retire comfortably on a beach and is scared of losing his money, is following the path of trying to be fulfilled from money. Personally, I don't care if I go broke. Why? Because I know I can get it right back. What I care about is helping mankind. Look at the biggest people on earth. The biggest people on earth go all in on things. They put all of their eggs in one basket and guard it with their life. And this is why my education differs from a person that comes from a financial background. Finance teaches you one thing. Entrepreneurship and life teaches you another. And I invest as if I want to change mankind. Money to me is nothing. What I want is $150 million, $200 million to build a space company, because that's all that matters. And this is why my business has been able to grow. This is why I empty my bank account before the 15th and I do not accept salary from my business, because I want to further mankind. What type of person are you? Are you type A? Or are you type B? Leave a comment in the description below. That's it for this video, guys. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, and it's for you, Graham, as well. If you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Catch you in the next one.